Hey friends, welcome back. Let me ask you something right out of the gate. Have you ever felt like you're pushing so hard just to make something work, only to find yourself more stressed, more frustrated, and no closer to peace? Like you're swimming upstream in a river that clearly wants to flow the other way. If that hits home, you're not alone. We've all been there, struggling to control every outcome, forcing life to bend to our will. And in doing so, we end up exhausted, disconnected, anxious. But today, I want to offer a different path, a quieter, more powerful one. A path rooted in one of the most timeless philosophies in human history, Stoicism. And at the heart of that philosophy is one simple, liberating idea. Backhand index pointing right, don't force anything. Now I know how that might sound at first, like giving up, like becoming passive, but in truth, it's the opposite. Letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters, with clarity, intention, and presence, and releasing what you can't control. It means choosing flow over friction, acceptance over resistance, wisdom over ego. Person in lotus position letting go, a strength, not a weakness. The Stoics, people like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, weren't soft thinkers. They were emperors, slaves, teachers, warriors. They lived in the real world. And what they discovered is this: we suffer more from our desire to control than from life itself. Think about it. How many of our sleepless nights come from obsessing over things we can't fix? A relationship not working the way we hoped. A job that doesn't recognize our worth. A future we can't predict no matter how hard we try. We force things, situations, people, outcomes, and it only deepens our suffering. The Stoics invite us to do something radical instead. Herb, let go of control. Water, wave, embrace the natural flow of life. Dove, accept what is, not just what we wish would be. This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. Sunrise, what this video will give you. In today's video, we're going to unpack 10 life-changing Stoic lessons that will help you live with more clarity, confidence, and inner peace. Lessons that don't require you to move to a mountaintop or sit cross-legged in silence for hours. These are real, practical teachings you can apply right now to your work, your relationships, your habits, your mindset. We'll explore things like how to live fully in the present, why silence and solitude are powerful allies, the art of letting go, yes, even when it's hard, how to find joy in the simplest things, and how to stop being ruled by the outcome and start falling in love with the process. These are not abstract theories, they are daily practices. And when you begin to embrace them, life starts to feel lighter. You start to feel stronger, clearer, more in control of the things that actually matter. Your mindset, your presence, your peace. Compass, why Stoicism and why now? Let's be honest, life today is loud. It's chaotic. It's full of pressure to perform, to impress, to keep up. It's easy to feel like we're falling behind, like we're never doing enough, being enough, having enough. That's why Stoicism matters more than ever, because it gives us a compass, a grounded way of living that says, you don't have to control everything, you just have to control yourself. And that, my friends, is where the power lives. Jigsaw, a moment to reflect. So before we dive into these 10 Stoic lessons, I want to leave you with a question. Pushpin, what in your life are you trying to force right now? Is it a relationship that feels one-sided? A job that drains you? An expectation that's weighing on your shoulders like a bag of bricks? What would happen if you loosened your grip, not gave up, but let go? What if you chose ease over struggle, flow over force? Because when we stop pushing so hard and start showing up with presence and acceptance, something beautiful happens. We begin to feel free. Direct hit, let's begin the journey. If this resonates with you, if you're ready for more peace, more strength, more meaning, stick with me. We're going to walk through each lesson slowly, clearly, and with real-world perspective. This isn't a lecture, it's a conversation, a journey, one that might just shift the way you show up in your everyday life. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's begin. Because a more peaceful, grounded version of you is not some distant dream, it's one choice away. Let's choose not to force. Let's choose to flow. Let's be honest. Most of us are either chasing what's next or stuck replaying what's already gone. We think about tomorrow's deadlines, next year's goals, 5-year plans, or we're stuck wondering why something in the past happened the way it did. Regret, guilt, if only. But what about this moment? What about right now? This breath, this heartbeat, this very second? The ancient Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Those words, they hit hard. Because the truth is, we act like we've got all the time in the world. But life doesn't promise us tomorrow. It doesn't even promise us tonight. And that's not a reason to panic. It's a reason to wake up, to truly live here now in this moment. Sunrise, the present, is all we truly own. Think about it for a second. The past, it's gone. The future, not here yet. The only moment you can actually experience, shape, and respond to is this one, right now. And yet, we spend so much of our energy outside of the present. We scroll mindlessly while eating. We rush through conversations thinking about what's next. We sit with loved ones, physically present but mentally elsewhere. We miss out on the beauty of life not because it isn't there, but because we aren't paying attention. Person in lotus position, the power of small moments. Have you ever had one of those quiet mornings with a cup of coffee, sunlight pouring through the window, and the world just feels still? Or maybe a walk in the park where everything slows down, the breeze, the trees, the sounds. In those rare moments when your mind is fully here, don't you feel lighter, freer? That's not a coincidence. That's the power of presence. That's what Stoicism points us toward. You don't need a vacation to feel peace. You just need to arrive fully in the moment you're already living. Brain, why we struggle to be present. Now it's not easy, let's be real. We live in a world designed to pull us out of the present. Our phones buzz with every notification. Our minds race with to-do lists. We measure success by how productive we are, how fast we can move, not how deeply we can live. But presence is a practice, a skill, and like anything, it gets stronger the more you train it. The Stoics weren't monks on mountaintops. They lived in the noise. And even in that chaos, they found stillness by constantly returning to the moment. Epictetus encouraged his students to ask, "What am I doing right now? And how does it contribute to my well-being?" It's a simple question, but incredibly powerful. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed, try it. Just pause and ask, where am I? What am I doing? Is this helping or hurting me? That single moment of awareness can break the autopilot and bring you back to yourself. Real tools for presence. So let's talk tools. How do you actually start living more fully in the present? Here are a few ways the Stoics and modern science agree can help. 1. Deep breathing. Before a meeting, during traffic, at the grocery store. Stop, inhale deeply, hold. Exhale slowly. Breathing brings you out of your head and back into your body. 2. Mindfulness moments. You don't need a 30-minute meditation session. Just choose one everyday activity, like eating, walking, brushing your teeth, and do it with full attention. Notice every movement, every sound, every sensation. 3. Gratitude for the ordinary. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to appreciate life's simplest details. So can you. Feel the warmth of your coffee. Hear the laughter of your kids. Smell the grass after it rains. The little things aren't little. They're where joy lives. Prohibited, let go of time travel. When you catch yourself reliving the past or fearing the future, pause. Those mental loops, they don't serve you. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Dwelling on the past won't change it. Worrying about the future won't control it. But being fully present, that changes everything. Hammer starts small. Start now. Here's the truth. You don't need to overhaul your life to start living more mindfully. You just need to begin noticing. Notice your breath while waiting in line. Notice the colors in the sky while walking to your car. Notice how you feel in your body without judgment. These are micro moments of presence, and they matter, they accumulate. Over time, they rewire your brain to be calmer, more grateful, more alive, seeding a personal reflection. Let me share something personal with you. There was a time in my life when I was always thinking ahead, chasing the next project, the next paycheck, the next milestone. But I missed birthdays. I missed conversations. I missed laughter that was right in front of me. It wasn't until I hit a wall, burnt out and anxious, that I started paying attention to what the Stoics had been teaching all along. And the moment I started slowing down, noticing the breeze on my face, the sound of my own breath, that's when life actually started feeling meaningful again. I didn't need more. I needed to return to what was already here. Compass your turn. So here's my invitation to you. Pushpin what's one small moment today you can be fully present for. Not later, not tomorrow, today. Can you listen without distraction? Eat without a screen? Take a walk without thinking 5 steps ahead? These are the moments that matter. This is where life happens. Direct hit final thought. Living fully in the present isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a way of reclaiming your peace, your power, your presence. As Marcus Aurelius said, "While you live, while it is in your power, be good." And I'd add, while you live, while it is in your power, be here. Because life is too short to be lived in rewind or fast forward. All we truly have is now. Let's take a breath. Seriously, right here, right now, take one deep breath. Feel it enter your lungs. Notice the pause, then let it go. That breath is already gone. It came. It served its moment. And now it's part of the past. That's impermanence. And whether we like it or not, impermanence touches everything in life. Our bodies, our relationships, our careers, our dreams. But what if, instead of fearing that, we learned to embrace it? What if we saw change not as the enemy, but as our greatest teacher? Candle, you could leave life right now. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, philosopher, and one of the great minds of Stoicism, once said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." At first, that may sound dark or even morbid, but it's not about fear. It's about focus. It's a call to wake up and live intentionally, to stop putting off what matters, to stop assuming we have unlimited time, to stop living like we'll never run out of chances. Because everything, yes, everything, is temporary. Tornado, everything changes. That's the rule, not the exception. Your health, your wealth, your status, the people you love, they're all in constant motion. And the more we try to hold on, cling, grasp, demand that nothing change, the more we suffer. Think about how much stress comes from trying to keep things exactly as they are. The job we don't love but are afraid to leave. The relationship that's changed, but we keep pretending it hasn't. The fear of aging, of losing, of endings. But the Stoics teach us something profound. We suffer less not by controlling change, but by accepting it. Impermanence isn't a punishment. It's the nature of life. And when we finally make peace with that, we start living with clarity, with courage, with gratitude. Busts in silhouette relationships. Love now, not later. Let's talk about the people in our lives. We assume the people we love will always be around. That tomorrow we can say, "I love you." That next week we'll call our parents. That we'll make more time for the kids. When things settle down, But life doesn't come with those guarantees. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, offered a powerful, even shocking reminder. When you kiss your child goodnight, say to yourself, they may not be here in the morning. Now that might sound harsh, but it's not about living in fear. It's about living in appreciation. When we understand that nothing is promised, we stop taking people for granted. We listen more deeply. We speak more kindly. We cherish moments, not just milestones. So ask yourself, who in your life are you not fully present with? What words are you waiting to say? What love are you saving for someday? Because the truth is, someday isn't guaranteed. Let go of attachment to things. Let's also talk about stuff. Our homes, our cars, our bank accounts, our status. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. But the danger comes when we believe those things define us, that they make us safe or worthy or enough. The Stoics flipped that thinking completely. Epictetus wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." True wealth isn't about accumulation. It's about contentment. And contentment isn't found in more, it's found in perspective. Because everything we own can be taken. But who we are, how we live, how we love, how we respond to life, that's what lasts. So if we can loosen our grip on our things, we can actually enjoy them more. Use them, appreciate them, but never let them use us. Direct hit impermanence creates clarity. Here's the secret the Stoics understood. When you accept that everything is temporary, you start living on purpose. You stop wasting time on petty arguments. You stop chasing approval from people who don't matter. You stop delaying joy, waiting for some perfect future. Instead, you focus on what matters right now. You speak with kindness. You act with integrity. You love more deeply. You show up fully, because you know this moment. It won't come again. And far from making life sad, this makes it sacred. Pushpin, a modern example, dealing with loss. Let's bring this into the real world. Maybe you've lost someone you love. Maybe you're going through a breakup. Maybe you've had to say goodbye to a part of yourself, a role, a dream, a version of your life you once held on to. It hurts, right? But that pain is not just a sign of loss. It's a reminder of how much something mattered. And it's an invitation to feel, to learn, to grow. The Stoics didn't pretend grief didn't exist. They simply taught us not to let it destroy us. They taught us that even in heartbreak, we can still choose how we respond. So if you're hurting right now, you're not alone. And you're not broken, you're just human. Let the pain soften you, not harden you. Let it teach you what matters most. Sunrise over mountains, final thoughts. A call to live now. So let me leave you with this. Everything you love will one day change. But instead of resisting that truth, let's honor it. Let's live with our eyes open. Let's speak the words we've been holding back. Let's forgive. Let's risk. Let's laugh. Let's love now, not later. Because as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is your life. This is your time. You don't need more guarantees, you just need more presence. So be here, be grateful, be brave, because the impermanence of life, that's not a reason to despair. It's the greatest reason to live. Let's talk about something that sounds simple, but is one of the hardest lessons to live by: acceptance. Not the kind that gives up, not the kind that says, "Oh well, I guess this is just how it is," but the kind that sees clearly what's in your control and what isn't, and chooses peace anyway. The kind of acceptance that the Stoics practiced every single day. Person in lotus position acceptance is not surrender. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic minds, said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." At first glance, that might sound passive, like you're just going with the flow no matter what happens. But real acceptance, Stoic acceptance, is the opposite of giving up. It's about directing your full energy toward the things you can influence, your attitude, your effort, your choices, your response, and then letting go of the rest. Because no matter how hard you try, you can't control traffic. You can't control whether someone hires you. You can't control how other people behave. But you can always control your reaction. Automobile, let's get practical. Traffic, rejection, and real life. Picture this, you're stuck in traffic, you're already late. You can feel the frustration building. Your hands grip the wheel tighter. Maybe a few choice words slip out. And yet, all that tension. It doesn't move a single car. Now imagine instead, you take a deep breath. You turn on a podcast. You loosen your jaw. You accept that you're not going anywhere fast, but you can choose how you feel in the meantime. That's acceptance. And that's power. Or say you worked your heart out on a project, gave it your all, but it didn't get the recognition you were hoping for. No raise, no thank you, maybe not even a nod. You feel hurt, maybe even angry. But what if, just what if, you reminded yourself, I did what was in my control. I gave my best. That's what I'm proud of. The Stoics believed that praise and reward were never the goal. Virtue was, effort was, integrity was. What matters is that you showed up with intention and heart, even if the world didn't clap for you. Brick's hard times are the real teachers. Here's the thing, acceptance doesn't only apply to everyday annoyances. It's even more powerful when things really go wrong. A loss, a failure, a betrayal, a dream that didn't unfold the way you hoped. In these moments, it's so tempting to fight reality, to scream, this shouldn't have happened. And maybe it shouldn't have. But it did. And the Stoics teach us to begin right there, with what is, instead of getting trapped in what could have been. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." In other words, it's the struggle that strengthens you. If you can face life's toughest moments with even a small bit of grace, you become more than just resilient. You become wise. You become someone who doesn't just survive, but grows. Thought balloon, a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, Pushpin, what am I resisting right now in my life? A difficult relationship, a diagnosis, a situation that just feels unfair. What would happen if, instead of resisting, you accepted it? Not because you agree with it, not because it's easy, but because acceptance frees you to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. Acceptance says, this is what I'm facing. Now what can I do with it? That's not weakness. That's leadership from the inside out. Seedling, it's not about settling, it's about strength. Let me be clear, acceptance isn't the same as settling. If you're in a toxic environment, you don't just stay there. You accept that it's toxic, and then you take action from that place of clarity. If something's broken, you don't pretend it's fine. You accept that it's broken, and from that place, you decide what's next. Acceptance isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about being honest with yourself so you can act with courage. The Stoics weren't doormats. They were warriors of the mind, of the spirit, of the soul. And they knew that the key to inner strength wasn't in controlling life. It was in responding to life with wisdom. Book's personal story, the job I didn't get. Can I share something with you? A few years ago, I applied for a role I really wanted. I thought I was perfect for it. I interviewed well. The team liked me. I even started picturing my new desk, new commute, new coffee spot. And then I got the email. Thank you for applying, but we've gone with someone else. My stomach dropped. I started questioning everything. What did I do wrong? Should I have said this instead? Why was I good enough? But then I remembered Epictetus' words. Make the best use of what is in your power. I couldn't change their decision, but I could change how I carried myself moving forward. So I followed up with gratitude. I kept building my skills, and months later, another door opened. One that was actually a better fit. That job I didn't get. It ended up being the best thing that didn't happen to me. And it all started with acceptance. Final thought, this is where freedom begins. So here's what I hope you take with you today. You can't control the world. You can't control people. You can't control what life throws your way. But you can always control this. Direct hit how you respond. Direct hit how you show up. Direct hit whether you resist or accept. Acceptance isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. The beginning of real freedom, real peace, real power. So the next time something doesn't go your way, try asking yourself, what's still in my control? What kind of person do I want to be in this moment? That's the Stoic way. And that's the path to a calmer, stronger, more courageous life. Let me ask you something that might hit closer than you expect. What are you still holding on to? A mistake you made years ago? A relationship that ended but still echoes in your thoughts? An expectation about how your life should look by now? We all carry invisible weight, regrets, disappointments, what-ifs. But here's the truth the Stoics knew long before modern psychology caught up. We don't suffer because of what happens to us. We suffer because of how we judge it. Epictetus said it best. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. And that's where today's lesson begins, learning to let go. Letting go isn't giving up, it's setting yourself free. When people hear let go, they often assume it means stop caring. But that's not what we're talking about. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving. It doesn't mean you stop striving. It simply means you stop clinging to what you can't control and start living from a place of calm clarity instead of emotional chaos. Letting go means making peace with the past and choosing not to carry it into your future. Hourglass, not done letting go of the past. Mistakes are not life sentences. We all mess up, say the wrong thing, make the wrong move. But how many of us continue to punish ourselves long after the moment has passed? Maybe you wish you had spoken up or kept quiet. Maybe you missed an opportunity or chose the wrong person. Whatever it is, it's done. The Stoics teach us that the past is no longer in our control, but our relationship with it still is. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. He doesn't say, think about what you did wrong 5 years ago. He says, be here, now, because this morning, this moment is all you truly have. So if you're carrying guilt or shame or regret, ask yourself, Pushpin, what purpose does it serve? If it's teaching you something, learn from it. Then let it go. Broken heart, letting go of relationships. Honor them without holding on. Some of the hardest things to release are people. Not because we didn't love them, but because we did. Whether it was a breakup, a friendship that faded, or a loss you never saw coming, letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means no longer needing it to be something it's not. Seneca offered beautiful wisdom on this. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Every ending carves out space for something new, a deeper connection, a rediscovered version of yourself, or simply peace. And sometimes, the person you need to let go of is the version of you who kept chasing someone else's validation. Direct hit, letting go of expectations. Release the shoulds. Let's be honest, expectations can be traps. I should be farther along by now. This should have worked out. They should have treated me better. But should is a sneaky thief. It steals your joy in the present by demanding a different past. The Stoics teach us to release our grip on expectation and instead embrace acceptance and action. You can't control how others behave. You can't control every outcome. But you can control your mindset, your choices, your values. And that is more than enough. A personal story, the weight I carried. Let me share something personal. There was a time in my life when I kept revisiting a mistake I'd made in my early 30s, a decision that cost me a job, a relationship, and my confidence. Years later, even after I'd moved on, I still found myself thinking about it, wondering what I could have done differently. And then one morning, I read this line from Epictetus again. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. It hit me like a wave. The event had ended, but I was choosing day after day to relive it. I was carrying the weight, not because it was still there, but because I never let it down. So that day, I sat down, closed my eyes, and did something I hadn't done before. I forgave myself, not because I was perfect, but because I finally saw that peace doesn't come from erasing the past. It comes from releasing your grip on it. Sunrise over mountains, letting go equals emotional freedom. When you let go of what no longer serves you, past wounds, people, pressures, you create space. Space to breathe, to rest, to heal, to dream again. You can finally stop running, stop proving, stop pretending. You start living. And in that stillness, you realize you never had to carry all that in the first place. Thought balloon, a question for you. So I'll ask you now, friend, Pushpin, what are you still holding on to that's holding you back? A grudge, a failure, a version of yourself you no longer need. Whatever it is, acknowledge it, learn from it. And when you're ready, let it go. Because you deserve a life that feels light, not weighed down by what was. Direct hit, final thought. Let go, grow forward. Letting go is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. The part where you take the pain and turn it into purpose. The part where the wound becomes wisdom. The part where peace finally arrives, not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. So the next time you feel your chest tighten, your mind spiral, your spirit sink, pause and remind yourself, I don't need to control this. I don't need to carry this. I can let it go. And when you do, you'll walk lighter, love deeper, and live freer than ever before. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly present, not thinking about your to-do list, not scrolling your phone while eating dinner, not mentally rehearsing tomorrow's meeting while half listening to your child's story? I mean really here, with both your mind and your body. If you're like most people today, that moment might feel like a distant memory. And yet it's in that kind of presence, calm, grounded, undistracted, that we experience life at its fullest. The Stoics knew this. Long before mindfulness became a buzzword, they practiced it as a way of living. Marcus Aurelius said, confine yourself to the present. Simple, clear, and radically powerful. Person in lotus position, what is mindfulness really? Let's clear this up. Mindfulness doesn't mean sitting cross-legged on a mountain or achieving some mystical state. Mindfulness means awareness, without judgment. It means noticing what's happening around you and within you without labeling it as good or bad, right or wrong. It means being here, not lost in the future or buried in the past. And the more you practice it, the more you begin to feel at home in your own life. Fork everyday mindfulness. It's closer than you think. Let's bring it down to the real world. You're eating lunch. Maybe it's a sandwich, maybe just leftovers. Are you tasting the food, chewing slowly, noticing the textures? Or are you scrolling your phone, answering emails, barely aware you're even eating? Now try this. Tomorrow, eat one meal without distractions, just you and your food. Pay attention to every bite. Feel how grounded you become, how grateful, how calm. That's mindfulness. Or here's another, you're driving. Someone cuts you off. You feel that spike of irritation, rage rising, hands tightening, your mind firing up a mental argument. But what if you caught that feeling? What if, instead of reacting, you took a breath and noticed the emotion and chose peace? That single pause, that moment of mindful awareness can change your entire day. Your mind is not your enemy, but it needs a guide. Here's what the Stoics understood so well. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just visitors, temporary, often unreliable. Seneca nailed it when he wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Let that sink in. We suffer more from what we think might happen than from what's actually happening. We worry about what people might think. We stress about what could go wrong. We replay conversations in our head that no longer exist anywhere but in our imagination. And every time we do that, we leave the present behind. But when we practice mindfulness, we learn to observe those thoughts without letting them hijack our peace. The benefits of mindfulness go beyond calm. Mindfulness isn't just about feeling zen. It's about building real mental resilience. It teaches you how to respond instead of react, slow down when life speeds up, see clearly when your emotions try to blur your vision. It helps you get off the hamster wheel of anxious thoughts and return to what you can actually influence, this moment. And in this moment, you have a choice, a breath, a new beginning. Book's A story, The Mindfulness That Saved My Sanity. A few years ago, I was juggling work stress, family expectations, and this inner voice telling me I was falling short. I was always in the next hour, the next week, the next milestone. Until one day I hit a wall, burned out, disconnected, empty. So I started small, each morning just 5 minutes. I'd sit with my coffee, no phone, no noise. I'd breathe, I'd listen, I'd notice. And something incredible happened. I started to feel human again, not perfect, but present, and that was enough. Light bulb mindfulness is not magic, it's a muscle. Like any habit, mindfulness takes practice. You won't master it overnight. You're not supposed to. It's not about being calm all the time. It's about being aware, even when you're not, even when you're anxious, even when you're angry, even when your mind is loud. That's when mindfulness matters most, because the goal isn't to silence your mind. The goal is to know your mind so well that it no longer controls you. Pushpin's simple ways to practice mindfulness today. Here are a few ideas you can start with. No apps, no special tools. 1. One mindful breath before you speak. It gives your words more weight and your emotions less control. 2. One screen-free meal a day. Experience your food. And if you're with someone, truly connect. 3. 3-minute check-in. Close your eyes. Notice what you feel, think here, without trying to change anything. 4. Walk without headphones. Listen to the world around you. Let it slow your pace. These tiny moments become a new way of living. Thought balloon, a closing reflection. So let me ask you, Pushpin, what would happen if you came home to this moment right now? If you stopped trying to control what hasn't happened yet, or fix what's already gone? What if peace wasn't something you had to earn, but something you could choose, right here, in this breath? Because as Marcus Aurelius said, confine yourself to the present. And when you do, you'll find that clarity lives here, peace lives here. You live here, right where you are. Have you ever said something and immediately wished you could take it back? We all have. Words spoken in anger, an impulsive text, a harsh reply that cut deeper than we intended. And yet, what if I told you that silence, something so simple, so often overlooked, might be one of the most powerful tools we have, not just for avoiding regret, but for building inner peace, clarity, and even deeper relationships? Let's talk about the power of silence. Person in lotus position, silence is wisdom in practice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." It's a quote you might have heard before, but how often do we really live by it? In a world that rewards the loudest voices, the quickest comebacks, the boldest opinions, choosing silence can feel unnatural. But for the Stoics, silence wasn't weakness. It was discipline. It was strength. It was the space between impulse and wisdom. Thought Balloon: Why Silence Matters. More than just not talking. Let's redefine silence, not as the absence of sound, but as the presence of intentional pause. It's a pause that gives you room to reflect before reacting, breathe before bursting, understand before assuming. Epictetus echoed this beautifully. Nature gave us one tongue and two ears so that we may hear more and speak less. Because silence isn't just about being quiet, it's about listening to others, to life, to your own inner compass. Repeat button silence helps you make better decisions. Have you ever felt pressured to respond right away? Whether it's a tough conversation, a tense email, or a heated argument, our instincts often push us to react fast. But fast isn't always wise. Silence gives you time to think, time to calm your nervous system, time to ask yourself, what's really going on here? That short pause might save you hours of conflict or years of regret. Silence is where knee-jerk reactions end and mature responses begin. Fire silence as emotional strength. Here's something most people miss. Silence isn't passive, it's powerful. It takes real strength to sit with discomfort, to not blurt out your anger, to not defend yourself immediately. But in that quiet, something shifts. You give yourself space to feel without reacting. You gain clarity, and often the urge to lash out disappears. That's emotional regulation in action and stoicism in motion. Brain silence and self-reflection. The inner conversation. Let's go deeper. When was the last time you sat in silence with your own thoughts without distraction? No phone, no music, no scrolling, just you and whatever is inside. It can be uncomfortable, even confronting, but it's also freeing. Because in silence you can finally hear what your body needs, what your heart is tired of carrying, what your mind is trying to tell you beneath the noise. Silence is the doorway to self-awareness, and self-awareness is the root of all personal growth. Ear silence improves relationships. Think about the last deep conversation you had. Was there space for silence? Often, we rush to fill every pause. We interrupt, we assume, we offer advice before understanding. But the truth is, some of the most meaningful moments in connection happen in silence. When someone is grieving, when someone is overwhelmed, when words fall short, your quiet presence can say everything they need to hear. Silence says, I'm here, I'm listening, you're safe. That kind of listening, it builds trust, respect, gratitude. It's how we turn conversations into connection, books a personal moment. When silence changed everything. A few years ago, I was in a conflict with someone I deeply cared about. I wanted to defend myself, to explain, to win the argument, but something inside me said, wait. So I stayed quiet, not in a cold or dismissive way, but in a curious, grounded way. And in that silence, they kept talking. And what came out wasn't anger, it was pain. Underneath the frustration was a fear I hadn't seen. And because I didn't interrupt, I finally understood. That moment taught me something I've never forgotten. Sometimes, what someone needs most isn't your words, it's your willingness to hear theirs. Pushpin: How to Practice Meaningful Silence Today. You don't need a meditation cushion or a silent retreat. Just start here. 1. Pause before responding, take a breath. Even just 2 seconds, it changes everything. 2. Listen without preparing your reply. Stay present. Let their words fully land. 3. Build daily quiet time. 5 minutes. No noise, just sit and notice what arises. 4. Let silence live in your relationships. Not every pause needs to be filled. Trust the space. These simple practices create a more peaceful mind and a more connected life. Thought Balloon: A closing thought. We live in a noisy world, but you don't have to be noisy to be powerful. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to speak to be understood. Sometimes, The strongest presence in the room is the one who chooses silence. So today, try asking yourself, Pushpin, what would silence offer me in this moment? A breath, a boundary, a bridge. Whatever it is, trust it, because as the Stoics knew, silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. Let me ask you something. Have you ever spent weeks, even months, working toward a goal only to finally get there and feel underwhelmed? Like you thought it would feel bigger, better, more satisfying. We've all been there. You graduate, but the diploma doesn't silence your doubts. You get the promotion, but the stress doesn't go away. You finish the race, but somehow you're still running inside. Why? Because we were so focused on the destination, we forgot to enjoy the journey. Today, we dive into one of the most empowering Stoic lessons of all. Backhand index pointing right, don't chase outcomes. Embrace the process. Classical, the wisdom of Epictetus. Epictetus once said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Welcome what happens the way it happens, then you will find peace." That sounds like a paradox, right? Don't seek what you want. Is that the opposite of ambition? But what the Stoics meant wasn't about becoming passive or giving up on goals. It's about letting go of obsession with the result and putting your energy into the process. Growth happens in the middle. We live in a culture that celebrates milestones. We're trained to think, when I get there, I'll be happy. When I reach that number, I'll feel enough. When I check that box, I'll finally rest. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, not on your bank account, not on your job title, not on your follower count. Happiness isn't at the finish line. It's in how you show up today in this moment with what you have. Why the journey matters more than ever. Here's the truth. You can't always control the outcome. Markets crash, people leave, goals shift. But what you can control every single day is how you show up. Are you learning something new? Are you practicing patience? Are you building your character? If so, you're winning, even if the world hasn't handed you a trophy yet. Seneca said it best. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Most people give up not because they failed, but because the process didn't give them instant results. But Stoics don't seek comfort, they seek growth. And growth is a process. What the process builds that outcomes can't. The journey teaches you things no result ever will. Discipline, showing up when motivation fades. Resilience, rising after setbacks. Self-awareness, noticing your inner voice when you want to quit. Patience, trusting that time works in silence. The process isn't glamorous, but it's real. It's slow, but it's steady. And it's what actually transforms your life. A personal note, chasing milestones nearly broke me. There was a time in my own life when I was obsessed with outcomes. I thought success meant hitting a specific number, getting recognition, or achieving something that looked impressive on paper. And I did it. I hit those marks, but it felt empty because I had rushed through the journey. I hadn't stopped to reflect. I hadn't enjoyed the learning, the setbacks, or the tiny wins along the way. And I realized I had been living in delay, always waiting for someday to give me permission to be happy. It wasn't until I began embracing the process, day by day, task by task, that peace started to return. That's when life felt full again. Not perfect, but purposeful. A Stoic reminder you can use daily. Try this when you wake up tomorrow. Ask yourself, what process am I in love with today? Not what you're trying to achieve, but what you're choosing to engage in, fully, mindfully, wholeheartedly. That could be showing up for your morning workout, writing one thoughtful paragraph, having a real conversation instead of a rushed one, practicing a new skill even if you're still fumbling. Because if you fall in love with the practice, the outcomes tend to take care of themselves. And even if they do, you've still grown, you've still lived. You've still won. Closing reflection. So the next time you find yourself saying, "I'll be happy when," "I'll feel enough once," pause, breathe, and remember, life isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It's walking beside you right now, step by step, breath by breath, lesson by lesson. Enjoy the path. That's where the magic lives. When was the last time you paused to truly enjoy something small? I don't mean a promotion or a vacation or some big life event. I mean something simple, something ordinary. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, a patch of sunlight on your kitchen floor, the sound of your child laughing, the stillness right before the day begins. If you've forgotten how good those things feel, you're not alone. But the Stoics remind us of something powerful. That real joy, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from having more, it comes from needing less. Seneca's wisdom, it's not about what you lack. Seneca said it best. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Take a moment to let that sink in. In today's world, we're surrounded by messages that say, buy more, do more, be more. But what if we turned that on its head? What if joy wasn't something we chased, but something we noticed? Joy lives in the everyday. Think about it. The best moments in life often don't cost a thing. The way sunlight hits your face on a crisp morning, that first sip of coffee after a long night, a spontaneous laugh with someone you love, a quiet walk with no destination. These are the things that ground us, that bring us back to ourselves, that remind us this is life, this is enough. But we miss them because we're always reaching for something more. More not equal to better. Let's be honest. Modern life tells us we need the newest phone, the latest car, the biggest house. But here's the trap. The more you acquire, the more you fear losing it. The more you want, the less you enjoy what you already have. And that constant craving, it's exhausting. Epicurus, often quoted by Stoics, once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In other words, true wealth is simplicity. It's not the full closet, it's the peace that comes from not needing more. It's not luxury, it's contentment. Guard your thoughts, guard your joy. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And he was right. If your thoughts are always focused on what's missing, you'll always feel empty. But if your thoughts are tuned into what's already good, already here, you begin to see joy everywhere. Because gratitude turns what we have into enough. A personal story, my wake-up moment. A few years ago, I was caught in the cycle, constantly pushing for the next thing, chasing status, bigger goals, faster progress, and on the outside, it looked like success, but inside I felt hollow, until one day everything stopped. A simple moment, I was watching the rain fall on my window. No noise, no phone, just me and the rain, and I felt peaceful. Not because anything big had changed, but because, for the first time in a long time, I noticed. The moment was quiet, ordinary, and yet it felt like joy. That's when I understood what the Stoics were saying all along. Simplicity is not boring, it's powerful. Here's a reframe we all need. Simplicity isn't plain, it's intentional. It's choosing depth over distraction, presence over possession. You don't need more things, you need more moments, more stillness, more awareness, more noticing. That's where real life happens. Try this today, a simplicity challenge. So here's a challenge. Just for today, 1. Notice 3 small things that bring you joy, not accomplishments, not purchases, just being. 2. Declutter one area, a drawer, your inbox, your schedule. Create space for clarity. 3. Slow down one routine task. Wash the dishes, fold laundry, sip your tea, be fully present. These simple acts aren't trivial, they're sacred. They remind you that peace is always available. You just have to choose to see it. Closing reflection. So the next time you're tempted to believe joy is somewhere far away, in the next purchase, the next milestone, the next version of yourself. Pause, breathe, and look around. Joy may already be sitting beside you in your coffee, your breath, your quiet little life. Because as the Stoics knew, the good life isn't found in more. It's found in less, but deeply lived. Let me ask you something personal. When you woke up this morning, before the to-do list, the emails, the traffic, did you feel grateful? Not for something big or flashy, just for waking up, for another breath, for another day on this planet. If not, it's okay. You're not alone. In our fast-paced, pressure-packed world, gratitude often gets lost in the noise. But according to the Stoics, it is one of the most powerful tools we have to reclaim peace, perspective, and joy. And today, we explore the art of gratitude, not as a vague idea, but as a daily practice that can change how you live, love, and lead. Seneca on gratitude, the highest virtue. Seneca once wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." He didn't say rich. He didn't say powerful. He said grateful. To the Stoics, gratitude wasn't some optional extra. It was a discipline, a mindset, a way of seeing the world. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain or pretend everything's perfect. It simply chooses to focus on what's good, even when life is hard. And when you practice it regularly, something incredible happens. You shift from feeling lacking to feeling abundant, from chasing more to appreciating enough. Start each day with awareness, not anxiety. Marcus Aurelius gave this gentle reminder. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Before the day pulls you in 100 directions, before the demands and the headlines and the worries, just pause, breathe, and remember this moment is a gift. That simple awareness changes your emotional baseline. It grounds you. It softens stress. It reminds you, I already have more than I realize. Practical tools, how to practice gratitude for real. Let's get practical. Because while gratitude sounds beautiful in theory, it only works if you apply it, intentionally, consistently. Here are 2 simple practices that take less than 5 minutes a day. 1. The gratitude journal. Every morning or evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Small, specific, and real. The way my dog greeted me at the door. Warm coffee on a cold morning. My friend texting just to check in. You're training your mind to notice the good, and over time it gets easier. 2. Daily reflection. Ask yourself at night, what did I appreciate about today? Even on hard days, dig for one thing, maybe especially on those days. These small habits rewire your brain. Gratitude becomes a filter, and that filter changes everything. The science backs it up, and the Stoics knew it all along. Modern research has caught up with ancient wisdom. Studies show that people who practice gratitude sleep better, feel less anxious, strengthen relationships, recover faster from setbacks. In other words, they build emotional resilience. The Stoics didn't have neuroscience journals, but they lived by this truth. You can't always change your circumstances, but you can change your perception. Gratitude is how. Gratitude builds deeper relationships. Think about this. When was the last time you told someone, I appreciate you, without any reason? Not just thank you in passing, but really acknowledging them. A partner who supports you, a friend who listens, a colleague who always shows up. Gratitude strengthens bonds. It makes people feel seen. It turns ordinary moments into meaningful ones. And here's a bonus. It makes you feel better too. Because gratitude is a mirror. What you give, you receive. A personal shift from pressure to presence. There was a season in my life when I was deeply stressed, always looking forward, always trying to prove something, always behind. But someone challenged me. What if, for the next 7 days, you start every morning with gratitude? I rolled my eyes at first, but I tried it, Day 1, I'm grateful I slept okay. Day 2, I'm grateful the sun came out. Day 3, I'm grateful for this quiet moment before emails. And something shifted. Not my schedule, not my deadlines, me. I felt lighter, calmer, more here. Gratitude didn't fix everything, but it made everything feel more manageable, and I never stopped. What gratitude is not. Let's be clear. Gratitude is not denying your pain, ignoring injustice, pretending things are perfect. It's saying, even in the mess, there is still good. Even in the chaos, I choose to see the light. Even now, I am thankful for something. Gratitude doesn't erase struggle. It gives you the strength to face it with clarity and heart. Today's reflection. What are you taking for granted? So here's a question for you to carry today. What am I taking for granted that I can start appreciating? The breath in your lungs, the food in your fridge, the people who love you even when you're tired, messy, and human. Because what you take for granted today, someone else is praying for. Gratitude isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. And awareness is the first step to joy. Closing thoughts. The Stoics believe that a grateful heart is a strong heart. It's not soft, it's not naive, it's wise, it's anchored, it's powerful. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, lost, or stuck, come back to the basics. Start with a breath. Start with what's still good. Start with thanks. Because gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes who you become. Let me ask you something quietly. When was the last time you were truly alone and felt at peace? Not lonely, not scrolling on your phone, but alone with your thoughts, your breath, your presence. Most of us fill every moment with noise, podcasts, notifications, meetings, voices. We say we crave peace, but we run from silence. We say we want clarity, but we drown in distraction. And yet, the Stoics knew something we've almost forgotten. Solitude isn't something to fear, it's something to cherish. Classical Marcus Aurelius. The Quiet Retreat Within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter retreat than in his own soul." Pause on that. In a world that tells us to always look outward, more likes, more followers, more answers, Marcus turns us inward. He says the quietest, most healing place is already within you. You don't have to escape to a mountaintop. You don't need a cabin in the woods. You just need the courage to be still with yourself. Solitude not equal to loneliness. Let's clear something up. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the ache of absence. Solitude is the power of presence with yourself. Solitude is sitting in a room without reaching for your phone, walking without headphones and just listening to nature, journaling your thoughts instead of suppressing them. It's a space for reflection, emotional regulation, self-awareness. And it's in those spaces, uninterrupted, unfiltered, that you remember who you are beneath the noise. Seneca's wisdom. A well-ordered mind embraces solitude. Seneca once wrote, "Solitude is the school of genius." He didn't mean you had to be a poet or philosopher. He meant this: if your mind is well-ordered, if your values are clear and your thoughts intentional, you want solitude, you seek it, because it's not empty space, it's sacred space. The mind that avoids solitude often fears what it might find. But the Stoic seeks solitude, not to escape life, but to engage with it more clearly. How solitude strengthens you. Let's go deeper. Solitude helps you, one, process emotions. You can't heal what you don't face. Solitude allows grief, frustration, or confusion to surface, and gives them space to soften. 2, make aligned decisions. Ever made a choice you regretted because you acted too fast? Solitude gives you room to pause, to ask, does this align with who I want to be? 3, reconnect with peace and gratitude. In silence, you begin to notice again the breeze on your skin, your breath, the gift of this moment. In a world of constant demand, solitude is where you finally receive. Books a personal note, learning to sit with myself. I used to hate being alone. Silence felt like failure, like something was missing, so I filled every minute. Podcast, text, noise. But then came a period of forced stillness. A canceled plan, a quiet weekend, a long walk by myself. At first it felt empty. Then it felt full of thoughts I'd ignored, feelings I'd buried, dreams I hadn't let myself consider. And slowly I realized solitude isn't the absence of life. It's the amplifier of it. Practical ways to embrace solitude. You don't need hours a day or a meditation retreat. Start small. Start here, one silent cup of coffee each morning. No phone, just presence. A 10-minute walk where you observe your surroundings in silence. Write down 3 thoughts at night without editing or judging them. Sit with a question like, what truly matters to me right now? These micro moments build emotional muscle. You become calmer, clearer, and more resilient, not by doing more, but by being more. Solitude makes you stronger in a noisy world. In a culture obsessed with visibility, solitude is rebellion. In a time of endless connection, choosing quiet is strength. And it's in that quiet that your true voice emerges. No filters, no comparisons, just you, real, raw, and enough. Final reflection, can you be at home with yourself? So here's the question I'll leave you with today. Can you be fully at home in your own company? If yes, protect that space. If not, be patient. That relationship, like any other, takes time to build. But I promise you this, the more time you spend in solitude, the less approval you need, the more clarity you gain, the more peace you create, not outside, but within. So, if there's one thing I hope you take away from this journey, let it be this. You don't have to force life. You don't have to push, strain, or control every outcome. Because often, the more you grip tightly, the more life slips through your fingers. Instead, try something different. Try flowing with it. Just like a river doesn't resist the rocks in its path, it moves around them, over them, and keeps going. We too can learn to navigate life with more grace by surrendering what we can't control and focusing on how we respond. Accept, reflect, live intentionally. Let's break that down, because these aren't just feel-good words. They're practices, and they change lives. Life isn't always fair. People won't always understand you. Plans fall apart. But acceptance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The Stoics teach us, don't fight reality, work with it. Because only when you accept where you are can you truly move forward. Reflect. In a world that never stops, reflection is your superpower. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Am I living according to my values? What can I learn from what's happening right now? Even 5 quiet minutes a day can bring you more clarity than hours of hustle. Direct hit live with intention. You don't have to live on autopilot. You don't have to chase what others define as success. You get to choose. Choose presence over pressure, meaning over noise, purpose over perfection. Every small decision, how you speak, how you spend your time, what you think about, builds your future. Let go of what you can't control. This is one of the hardest lessons and the most freeing. Let go of what people think of you, the outcome of your efforts, the fear of uncertainty. As Epictetus reminds us, some things are up to us and some things are not. Your peace begins the moment you stop wasting energy on things outside your influence. That's not giving up. That's getting smart.